And so I do blame them. I blame them for the gun culture as it is today.
My conspiracy theorist doesn't believe in the NRA. I think the NRA is the Illuminati. Like it's there's no way one, you might as well call them a political party, has this much pull.
They're a voting block, and that's the thing.
To not give an inch, an inch. Like you said, they don't give. Nah. What up? It's Three Brothers No Sense. I am Tavares Ferguson, a.k.a. Ferg, joined my co-host, Buff and Rozzy. Fellas, tell them what's on your minds.
I don't know how we want to start this episode off. We're going to attempt to do something we haven't done before, which is, I guess, harp on one subject, one serious subject. We touched on it, what was it, last episode when we talked about Buffalo? Mm-hmm. And in your home state right now, Ferg, it's happened again, man. So I guess I'll let Rozzy go first because I'm not even sure how we want to start this. But we got a lot to say, I assume.
Yeah. Actually, I don't even know. I mean, go, Rozzy.
Do we have a lot to say? I know. I figured that's where you were going, Ferg. It's like, what more can we say, and what more can we do? And I guess that'll be the question, right? So we'll hold off on that. So I will just kind of wrap up the rest of the week and what happened. But let's start with, I know we always kind of end with a moment of silence. So I really want to start with a moment of silence for the 20, think about that, 19 children and a teacher. 20 people died from this last mass shooting. So I do want to start with a moment of silence for them. And as we send our hopes and prayers, I'm on this Beto O'Rourke walking in to Governor Abbott's press conference and say, y'all ain't doing nothing. Because they're not. They're not doing anything. But
he went full blown red wedding on them. Like he just walked in and kicked in the door and was like, we about to get this shit started.
Yeah, they start cursing at him. It was crazy, man. It was wild. So that is I'm liking what I'm seeing from the Democrats that are kind of standing up. AOC is like cursing folks out on her Twitter feed. A couple other congressmen doing the same. So I'm loving that. But luckily, one of the things I was going to talk about, school's out for summer for my kids. And so I want to ask you guys, how did you feel? Like, did you feel comfortable sending your kids back to school the next day, that type of thing? Because I know, I was actually happy that school was out for the summer.
Nope. I struggled with that last night and this morning. I really did. I gave both of my kids a huge hug, dropping it off. When I was dropping TJ's off this morning, I told his teacher to be safe. Like, it was just, that's all I could say, just be safe. I don't know, dude. I mean, nothing's off limits anymore, man. It's just, no. I don't think I'll ever feel comfortable sending my kids to school because, to Byron's point, sometimes it's like, when you're caught up in a moment, it's moments of silence and all this stuff, but this can happen any day. This happens I probably every few weeks, we get a notice from my daughter's school that the school's on lockdown because of something in the area, and we never know what it is.
Mm-hmm. Those yellow reports or whatever.
Yeah, and you just never. And they can't give you the information. They can't give you the data, but you become desensitized to the impending danger that your kids are in. It's just, and I don't want to accept that my kids could be in that situation. Part of me wants to be fooled that they're young. I see this more in middle school and high school, right? Some disturbed teenager goes up and shoots inside high school. Got a couple years, got to wait on that, But nah, bro, definitely didn't feel good. I'm sorry. I know, Byron, you got some stuff to say, or maybe not.
I wasn't. So it's crazy for us because Jasmine's school the day prior had gotten like some type of threat to the school. And so the superintendent emailed all the parents and said that, they found it not to be credible, but they're going to take precautions and everything like that. And Jasmine actually had an orthodontist appointment yesterday, so Tabitha had to get her out early. I say all that to say that when she went up to the school, she saw some of those precautions, like they had certain sections roped off and things like that. So I still wasn't like, I don't think we're going to send her to school. But, whenever a school shooting like this happens, it's in the back of your mind because we've seen, like Ferg said, it can happen. It's not just in high schools or middle schools. It can happen in elementary schools now, which it just did. So it's just, I don't know. I tried to talk to her, Jasmine, a little bit the day it happened, and just really just told her, take your friends, your classmates seriously when they say they may bring a gun to school or they may want to shoot someone. Don't take it as a joke. And I said, if you are worried about telling your teachers, tell us. We'll take it from there. But I just wanted her to know how serious it was. And, to simply answer Razi's question, my thought wasn't to keep her at school, but because of that threat and because of then what happened the very next day, it's like, wow, like it's real. And you always have to have it in the back of your mind.
Yeah, I think I've told y'all the story. Ferg, you talked about being desensitized to it all. It took me back to when I was in Iraq. You guys know I did civil affairs, and one of the big things we did was help schools and things like that. And we had put some trailers into a school, and we were there at the ribbon cutting at the ceremony opening, and the kids came out and they were singing, something in Arabic. I don't know what the heck they were singing, but they were into it. They were loving it. They put on kind of like a little play for us and stuff. And right in the middle of them singing, a bomb went off a block over. And so, like, while we're scrambling, trying to basically get out of there, like, we were like, yo, it's over. We're about to go. The kids literally jumped that the bomb went off and kept singing. Like, it was so second nature to them that a bomb would go off during the school day right next to them. I mean, I'm not talking about like you heard it pop down the street type thing. It's like you felt the bomb and you felt the building shake. You can feel the reverberation like from the bomb in your body, and the kids literally jumped and kept singing. And so it really took me to that. It's like, are our kids going to get to that point? Are they going to get that desensitized going through these, active shooter drills and stuff like that to be like, it's not a big deal. We'll take it in stride as we go. I hope and I pray that never happens, that they get that comfortable. But that's what we're living in right now. That's the time we're living in our country, is that our kids are like they're in a war zone. Like, they have to be worried, or at least, get through the day like it could happen at any point. And I'm just so worried that they're going to end up with PTSD growing up, that they're always... I don't want our kids to be the black people of America that, we have to always be on edge. Where, like, my kids are already growing up like that. Now they got to worry about gun violence, even in, assumed safe spaces. The school was one of the only places that I went to school, and I wasn't really worried about, anybody else. I wasn't worried about, get this racist person coming up and fighting or shooting me and stuff like that. Even the truancy officers at the school, you didn't treat them the same, or those school officers, you didn't treat them the same as you treated or felt with another officer, riding in the hood or whatever. So school was one of those safe places, and I feel like now kids don't even have that. So I'm just venting right now. I know I'm all over the place, and I keep saying I'm gonna go, away from it, but it keeps drawing me back.
I'll put the numbers, and I don't know how accurate these are. Numbers can be bent. So from 1982 until 2011, there was only 1 year with more than 5 mass shootings. That's 30 years. Since 2012, 8, meaning only 2 years, where the one was in 2020, there was a pandemic. Nobody was in the streets, nobody to shoot. And 2014, because Obama got elected and everybody was happy. And we're already at 3. Yeah, it's becoming the norm. It's just, we had 10 in 2019, 12 in 2018, 11 in 2017. This is crazy. What I was thinking is, well, maybe this has always been happening, but because, when you're young, you're shielded from things. I remember hearing certain things, but maybe I didn't hear the big stories. Maybe I didn't hear
we heard Columbine and those,
so,
right? That was it.
But you didn't hear. Maybe I was just unaware of everything going on. No, it wasn't. Part of me is like, maybe our parents were right. Maybe all these doggone video games. Maybe it's the music. And I'm not blaming that, but it's like, there's a difference. Something had to have happened, and I don't know what it is.
A rise in white supremacy. They came back out of the closet. That's exactly what it was. Because you said what, 90 something through 2012 or whatever, right? You have to think 1982 to 2012. Okay. Yeah, pre-civil rights, it wouldn't. They didn't have to worry about a mass shooting because they could just go out joyriding and shoot a nigga on the side of the road. No big deal.
Yeah, but is it all racism? Like this.
It's not. No, I don't think it's all racism. But what I do think is that the white supremacy is the leading factor in a lot of these shootings. You just got to call it what it is.
So we're focusing on school shootings because of what just happened, but on the larger scale, mass shootings, man, we always say America is number one. Nobody's touching us on mass shootings.
Oh no, bro, we got that locked down.
So this time frame from 2009 until yesterday, which just happened with the school shooting, we've had 274 mass shootings. That's a 13-year span. Now, like Ferg said, the numbers may differ because the FBI defines a mass shooting as 3 or more people being killed by a firearm. Some define it as 4 or more. So different, I guess, when you look them up, you can get slightly different numbers. But that's 274 mass shootings. We're averaging about 21 per year. And Texas has the most. They have 30 of them in that time frame.
I'm pretty sure our governor's proud.
And so when these things happen, I look at it as everybody goes to their battle stations. You guys mentioned what Beto O'Rourke did. The liberals go to their battle stations. The Republicans go to their battle station. And we're already hearing things like, well, we need more guns. Ferg threw some numbers out at you guys. Listen to these numbers. When you hear we need more guns, America accounts for 4% of the world's population. We own 42% of the guns in the world. 4% of the population in the world, 42% of the guns, and their response is we need more guns.
Well, the reason I mentioned Governor Abbott, because he just made a post recently saying California is number one in gun ownership, and he basically told Texans to get off and, let's be number one.
Right. And so
what the hell?
So the reason I've taken such a controversial stance on these shootings in the past, with virtually saying I don't care, is because I'm just so frustrated with a country that's supposed to be leading the world in ideas and everything like that. Yet when these things happen, we sit back and say nothing can happen. Nothing. There's nothing we can do about it. But you look at like Britain. In 96, they had a shooting and they passed a strict gun law. They haven't had one since. You look at Australia, same thing. So we may not necessarily have to go to that extent, but the fact that we do nothing, we do absolutely nothing.
We talk about it.
And that's it.
we do what we're doing here today. We talk about it. It's frustrating. What's so nerve-wracking about all this is, at the end of the day, can I agree that we all know nothing's going to change?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
that's what's so sad about it. It becomes, and we know how this is going to play out. It's going to be politicized. It's already, narratives are being spun. You know, it's the easiest one, mental health. You know, all this other stuff, rather than just getting down to the nitty gritty, they're going to overshadow it. I guarantee they're going to ramp up the Roe versus Wade conversation to kind of distract from this. It's going to happen. It's going to be a lot of distractions.
Well, we've seen one. A prominent conservative talking voice has blamed it on cross-dressing. She said, it's a conversation we don't want to talk about, but when grown men want to dress like women, there's an obvious...
They shoot up schools?
Well, there's an obvious mental issue, and that's what possibly drove him to do it.
I completely disagree with her stance, but hey, if that's your case, let's do a background check and figure out if there's a mental issue. You're saying there's a mental health issue, but you want to screen for mental health issues, which is that's what blows me. Is liberals have pulled back on, like, you know, dismantling gun laws, and just like, hey, we're just asking for the people to get guns. Let's make sure they're not crazy. Can we just make sure that there is a certain level of mental stability? And I mean, and we go through it's the same song and dance. We hear this, we feel the pain, and then it's and I hate to say this, you start having your doubts, and you're like, the way this should play out, like, oh man, hope this ain't a black person. Or you start dissecting all the stuff that happens, because something like this is going to, it's never about the act, right? Yeah. It's about everything surrounding the act. You know, if, you know, when people heard his name, it was, man, I hope he's not an illegal alien, because that's going to give the conservatives a talking point about immigration.
And they used it anyway. They went there anyway. Once they saw what his last name was.
Yeah. You mentioned...
But he wasn't an immigrant. Just to let you guys know, yes. He wasn't an immigrant.
Yeah, you said the cross-dressing. They turned this into a gay rights, and like, there's always something, rather than, hey, somebody easily got guns and shot up a school full of kids, babies.
And I want to clarify that 274 in that 13-year period, I may have misspoke. That's not just mass shootings. That's school mass shootings, by the way. Total mass shootings, we're already at 198 for this year. That made 198 for this year. Last year, we had 693. So America loves its guns. And it's not video games. It's not music. It's not any of that stuff. It's just that we have such an easy access to guns. And I know you guys saw the Steve Kerr press conference where he went off and he mentioned HR 8. For those of you that don't know, HR 8 passed by the House last year. It simply closes the loophole, because right now you have to have a federal background check before you purchase a firearm. But if you buy, if Ferg sells his to Razi, or if you buy one at a gun show, you don't have to go through that. And they're trying to close that loophole.
And they are big in Houston. I mean, in Texas.
Here too.
They are big.
We have them here almost every month.
I wouldn't be surprised if we had one here weekly in some part of Houston, which in the surrounding areas. But I don't know, man. It's disappointing. It's disheartening. As a parent, it makes me feel helpless, because what do you do? I mean, when I heard it, I was actually at the gym and I couldn't focus. Like I had to turn my I had to silence my notifications, because every time I was just getting updates and I couldn't focus on my workout. And in my mind, I'm like, what do? Do you not send your kids to school? Do you homeschool your kids? Do you stop Z from working and see if you can, like, all these things played out of my head? It's like, man, do I need to teach my kids survival skills? Do I need to teach them, I don't care what the school is saying, do I need to get them a phone so they can call me when things like this are going on? I mean, for a second, I'm like, do I get my kids a gun? Like, it's like, what do I do to protect my doggone kids from these things?
So, Rozzy mentioned white supremacy. Do you guys blame the NRA at all?
Yes.
And maybe not for this particular shooting, but just the amount of guns that are out there.
No.
Yeah, I blame them because they won't give an inch. They are not for the public interest, and that is why I blame them. It's not necessarily they're saying, hey, we want to maintain gun rights and we want people to be able to go buy guns and things like that. But when we talk about, they're fighting against this universal background check. Like that's not something that, it's like, oh no, nobody can get guns or stuff. I mean, there's a very small sliver of people that are going to show up on that or hit that background check and not be able to get guns. Right. And so it's just them just saying, nope, because I guess they're thinking slippery slope or whatever. They don't want to go down that route of giving an inch. And so I do blame them. I blame them for the gun culture as it is today.
My conspiracy theorist doesn't believe in the NRA. I think the NRA is the Illuminati. Like there's no way you might as well call them a political party, has this much pull.
They're a voting block, and that's the thing.
To not give an inch, an inch. Like you said, they don't give. Nah. Well, 19 kids died yesterday. Nah. Like they don't make a statement. They don't have to do anything. And then when they do make a statement, it's so like, did they just say that? Like the Illuminati is a scapegoat. I don't believe in the NRA is a scapegoat. I don't even think that exists. Like it's almost it's so crazy. Like you might sign up for the NRA and it's like, these niggas don't even know this shit's real. Like there's no such thing. It's because there is no way they have that much power. They don't bring.
It's crazy because I want to throw a name out there for the listeners to look up and you guys as well. Because the NRA, when it was first created, their whole reason for their creation was we had so many soldiers that didn't know how to handle a rifle back in the 1800s. They were created to teach people how to safely handle firearms. They were all about safety and marksmanship. That was it. And they were like that for a long time. And I've seen documentaries like Bowling for Columbine. I like Michael Moore, but I know he linked them to the Klan. And I know people like to link them to a lot of racist entities. But they really denounced a lot of that white supremacist stuff. They really just stayed in their lane. It wasn't until 1977.
Black Panthers?
No, not even that. And that gets passed around a lot on social media too. But they actually spoke out against, I know people say once the Black Panthers had guns, then the NRA was for gun control. They actually spoke out on gun control like 3 weeks before the Panthers did that. But I'm sure, let's face it, controlled by a bunch of white people, I'm sure the urgency was raised when the Black Panthers showed up and they pushed Reagan to sign that bill. But it wasn't until 1977 when a man by the name of Harland B Carter. Harland B Carter is an interesting individual, folks. This dude killed his first Mexican at 17 years old. He served 2 years, got out on a technicality, became a member of the Border Patrol, rose all the way up to become like the chief of it. And then he became like the top guy for the NRA. He was very radical. He wanted the NRA to become what it's become now. He had what they call a Cincinnati revolt, where they literally showed up at the NRA convention and took that bit over. Like literally told the president, yo, you need to step down. It's a new world order. They took it over, and the NRA, as we know it today, endorsed their first candidate, President Reagan, like 2 years later after that. Look that dude up though, because he pushed for legislation called like Operation Wetback. Like, he's a wild dude. That's how the NRA became what it is today. It wasn't even about what it's about now.
That would make a dope documentary.
You know what I mean? And you know why? You're right, Fer. You know why? Because look at everything the NRA stands for now. Stand your ground, protect your family. When he killed that Mexican when he was 17 years old, he came home from school. His mom was upset. Someone had stole their car a couple of weeks ago. She thought it was the Mexicans that were loitering in front of her house. So she's upset. His dad is at work. So he says, you know what? I'm going to take care of this. He grabs the rifle. He's protecting his family. He's standing his ground. He's killing minorities.
You sure this didn't happen in like Brunswick,
Georgia?
A few years ago, and the dude was running down the
when he was
this
jogging.
Is different, right?
Yeah, this is different.
Yeah, this is, you sure?
But history, we know what history does, right? Repeats itself. But
man, I don't know, man. I'm frustrated. I don't know what change looks like. I don't know if there ever will be change. I don't know. Because we're talking about schools. I mean, let's not.
So let me throw another.
Let's not miss out the fact that you can't even safely go grocery shopping anymore and be black.
Well, let me throw another. Throw another argument out there for you, Ferg. Okay, this dude used a gun to kill some kids. He could have easily used a baseball bat or a golf club. You're gonna ban those if people start using that to kill people, Ferg? Rozzy?
Yep. Nobody likes baseball anyway. Yeah, you can run from.
Yeah, it's very hard to kill 20 people with a baseball bat.
Exactly. Could you shoot and injure 500 plus people from a Las Vegas hotel at a concert?
With a baseball bat?
Yeah, with a baseball bat. Like, I wish the media would ask that when these politicians say that. Regurgitate the same argument over and over. If people kill with a baseball bat, would you outlaw that?
And you know what? Let's do that. Let's take it away from the kids because they're kids. Let's reenact you going into a grocery store with X amount of adults in there. And how many people were killed in Buffalo?
10.
10. If you can kill 10 people with a baseball bat, your argument stands. The same reason, they took a box cutter and hijacked a plane in 2001. Can't take box cutters on a plane anymore. How are we supposed to open boxes? I don't know. I haven't figured that out yet. But we all know now. Like we've all said, I wish somebody would try to take over my plane with. If the three of us on a plane together and somebody comes with a box cutter and says we're no, they might get one or two of us, and they got to be damn good with that box cutter. They can't be only just geek off the street. You know what I mean? They got to be handed with the steel. I don't know, man. It's common sense. But you know what? I don't want to take this whole show over because it's so much to talk about. It's so much. What else going on with y'all fellas, man? And I'm not trying to make light of 9/11. I'm not trying to take away that, there weren't people on the plane that were, because in today's world, you gotta say that we just adapt. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah. And to help you clear it up even more, those people on that plane, they didn't know they were going to crash into a building. They thought they were going to safely land somewhere, but
yeah, I get it.
We can take a break from this because I do want to talk possible solutions to this stuff. But just a subject switch real quick. I have done people a disservice. I recommended We Own This City, which is a great show, by the way, on HBO Max. I can't talk about it enough. But before you watch We Own This City, you need to watch The Slow Burn, which is the documentary that We Own This City is based on. Just trust me on it because it helps you know who the characters are and what they're doing in that show. And a lot of this stuff, because it's based on the Gun Trace Task Force, and we're not talking about police corruption that happened 10, 20 years ago. Not to give away too much, man, this team was so ruthless. They knew they were under FBI investigation and it still was going hard in the paint. As recent as 2017, this happened. Like after the Freddie Gray riots, after Baltimore Police Department was under a microscope, they still was going at it. And I'm not talking about roughing up just drug dealers and stuff. They literally were like targeting innocent people. Anybody they thought had money, they would pull them over and like literally just bump into them and say, oh, that's police assault, and start wailing on them, get their address, go into their home and look for cash, look for jewelry, anything like that. They were a real live gang. And the slow burn is about one of the officers that was part of the team. He eventually went to homicide. He got killed mysteriously the day before he was going to testify against them. Now, Baltimore police, they initially ruled it a homicide. Then they ruled it a suicide. And the last point on this, the reason why it's crazy that they ruled it a suicide, he was shot on the left side of his head. His radio was in his left hand, which means he only had one free hand. So unless you think he reached around to the left side of his head with his right hand, he probably got shot by somebody. The theory is by another police officer, but
it could happen.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. So, but yes, please, I know I recommended We Own the City, but watch the slow burn first, and then watch We Own This City.
And where can we find these shows?
HBO Max.
Raza, any spoilers you want to do for us this week? As long as it's not This Is Us.
Chippendale.
Yes, that's a good movie.
Not Chippendales.
Not the
Chip and Dale.
Not the strippers. Not the strippers, ladies.
Not the strippers. So, and the joke that they gave about that was hilarious, by the way. At the opening of it. So,
Z didn't know who they were, the Rescue Rangers.
That's so sad, bro. My kids knew what the Rescue Rangers, because they're on Disney Plus. So my kids have watched it. So they really, really liked it. So no spoilers, but it's a really good take. I liken it to an updated Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah,
it's really like a gumshoe. Yeah, very updated Who Framed. Like a lot of pop culture references. They're breaking the fourth wall a little bit, talking about stuff that's happening outside of like the toon world. So it's a pretty dope little movie, man. So I would recommend it.
The issue Tabitha had with it? It's not a spoiler, trust me. But what's the girl name that's with them? The squirrel? What's her name? I forgot her name.
The mouse, Gadget.
She was
I
like,
know it was something like that.
She was like, how is Gadget a squirrel and her husband is a fly? Like, how does that how does that happen? I'm saying she couldn't get off of that, dog.
Love conquers all, Tabitha.
And the kids though.
She was like, but his whole body could fit in her. I don't.
That boy getting it. Hey.
You packing?
There are women out there that understand fly penis and how it, you just don't feel it, but it feels sometimes. So all the fly penises out there. I mean, hey, wow. You guys, sorry about that, guys.
Penis. Wow.
No. Wow. I don't even know how to follow that up.
Oh, I did want to talk. So that was my spoiler, but I guess we can kind of turn it into a question. The whole Walmart Great Value Juneteenth celebration ice cream, and the not just that, but the commercialization of Juneteenth. That's really what I want to talk about. I mean, we had this conversation when they made it a national holiday, what was going to happen, and we kind of anticipated this, right? That it was going to get commercialized, and you're starting to see it. I saw Dollar General, they had some Juneteenth napkins, and it was like, it's the freedom for me. And I was like, wow, really? And so they've commercialized Juneteenth like they do every other holiday, I assume. Byron, you said it best, right? You were like, yeah, this is America. We don't do holidays well anyway. So
exactly.
I just wanted to kind of your thoughts on that and just kind of discuss them. They pulled it off. Walmart did pull the ice cream, so that won't hit the shelves anymore. They issued an apology, but what do you guys think is the thought processes from these corporations on what they're doing for Juneteenth, how they're commercialize it. Like, what is that? I know it was expected, but you think that it's gonna be like that's the norm going forward, and we just need to get over it and get used to it, or do we continue to fight back and make them pull this crap off the shelves?
I actually didn't have a problem with it. I wasn't annoyed or bothered by it. I mean, I don't eat Great Value anything, so I wouldn't have gotten that. I wouldn't have purchased it. I did see where somebody posted a black-owned ice cream. So
Creamalicious. Yeah, shout out to them.
I would just encourage people to purchase that. But it's like I say, on one hand, I hear people complaining how we're not recognized enough and things like that. And nobody recognizes Juneteenth. Every year I see people criticizing Black people for celebrating St. Patrick's Day and all that stuff. Now, as we mentioned last year, now it's an official holiday. With holidays, how long have you been in this country? With holidays come commercialization. It's just that simple. So I don't know if the Mexicans were upset when we took over Cinco de Mayo and only treated it as margaritas and Taco Day, but I don't hear a lot from them. Maybe they do complain, and I'm just not in their circles. But I wasn't bothered by it. It just was something I saw. It was like, I'm not buying that. I wouldn't buy that. I wouldn't encourage anyone to buy it. But I also wasn't up in arms to where I would demand that it get taken off the shelf, not on the anniversary of George Floyd's death and, just so many other bigger issues going on. I don't give a fuck about some trash ice cream.
Nigga, we made it. I mean, I guess that's the best way to look at it. And I'm not agreeing with it. It's just, it's funny and sad that in 2022, companies still don't have a diversity group to kind of say, maybe not that, but like Byron said, every holiday, especially if it's kind of put towards a certain group, gets commercialized, stereotyped, and all that stuff. It's just the American way. We Americanize everything. And I'm actually surprised they took it down, maybe because it's so new and we weren't around. I don't know if we were around when Cinco de Mayo came out or became popular. And maybe, Mexicans were boycotting Walmart, whenever that happened. I don't know. Or St. Patrick's Day. I don't know. I'm pretty sure St. Patrick's Day has nothing to do about them pouring green dye in the rivers or whatever the case may be. It's just the American way to Americanize it. And now that there is an official, a lot of companies are giving people the day off, they're going to find a way to make money for it.
Dude, Memorial Day, we have car sales and people grill slabs of rib and drink beer.
Yeah. I wasn't going to buy it. I just think they just don't know how to do it yet. They missed the train for MLK Day. So here's their one chance to get a black holiday, right? And it's in the summer and you can get barbecue, get the day off. So it's a good opportunity and for companies to make money. I hate to tell black people this and be the bearer of bad news. Juneteenth ain't for us. They didn't make the Great Value ice cream for you. They didn't make the freedom plates for you. Y'all ain't gonna buy them anyway. We ain't gonna buy that. Mexicans are not I don't think they're going out buying tacos and sombreros and all that stuff for Cinco de Mayo. They didn't make it for them. So when they find a way to not piss too many black people off, they're going to find a way to further market this and turn it into a cash cow. 15 years from now, our kids aren't going to even know that, watermelon ice cream or whatever they decide to do is going to be a thing. I remember barbecue. Growing up in Texas, it was barbecue, red pop, and watermelon. Like that was kind of the things going around in Texas, unfortunately.
Is the outrage mostly that it's being commercialized or that it wasn't a black-owned product?
I think it's a little. I think we're just trying to find something to hold.
I don't even know if it's the commercialization as much as it was the failed attempt and the stereotypes that they put with it. The marketing was very bad of it. The design was very bad. Like
high-fiving for freedom,
right,
I guess. Is that what it was?
Right. Like
they literally high-fived on it was. They high-fived on the carton to celebrate Juneteenth.
Yeah, with four-finger emoji, like not even like full hands,
it's
not
like,
anything. It was so bad.
Bruh,
and so like Ferg, when you talked about the whole companies not having diversity councils and like, you know, diversity reviews, especially if you're going to bring out something for the African American community. But what I've seen a lot is the people that make it into those diversity councils and, you know, the upper echelons of these corporate, you know, these corporations, a lot of times they're kind of whitewashed. You know, you can't be too black. You can't be too hood. You can't be as down for the culture and make it in a lot of these organizations. And that unfortunately, that's it. You have to fit in. We talk about code switching all the time. And I think what happens is a lot of people, they start by code switching and then they slowly lose themselves to where now that's their natural code and they have to code switch back to, you know, the hood, and, right? Or the black people.
And it's almost to a point where it's like, let's just let them have the four-finger high five. Like, if you saw where they started, you know, when they started watermelon ice cream, if you saw the watermelon ice cream and the chicken flavored, you know, gum, you would have been like, high five ice cream. You can't get mad at ice cream.
Speaking of chicken, I was more outraged at that KFC commercial about 10, 15 years ago when they had
Jerry Rice.
Not just Jerry Rice, they had brothers on there dancing and eat chicken because it's like the happiest
you know, I don't
day.
like the Popeyes lady.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
But I don't like the Popeyes lady.
Let me ask y'all this though. They have agreed to allow Ferg and Rozzy in the boardroom of great value, and they say, we want to celebrate Juneteenth. This is the idea we have. How are you correcting them, and what is your suggestion to what they should do?
I'm fine. Like you said, I'm fine with them bringing out an ice cream to celebrate Juneteenth. I think what has to happen is the branding around it has to actually speak to the culture. It's not some like corporatized blurb that just talks about freedom in general type thing. It needs to, like, Ben & Jerry's does a really good job of that. Like, tell the story on their packaging, right? It's not pandering. It really is like we're trying to do something to celebrate Juneteenth. And red velvet cake and cheesecake combination is actually a very good combination that, you know, black people like it. Red velvet cake is a staple in the black community. So
stereotype.
I'm
we like
okay
watermelon, we like chicken.
Yeah, we do. But you know, I think it's that making sure that the branding is on point. I don't have a problem with them saying, hey, we're gonna do Juneteenth napkins and plates and placeholders and stuff like that, because we know people are celebrating, and so we want to get into that, right? I'm totally okay with that. It's the part where when they put on it's the freedom for me part that takes away from, you know, the what Juneteenth's about and everything like that. So it really is just kind of looking at it individually and say, so it's not the commercialization, it's the branding piece that we got to make sure that's right.
It's the freedom for me was whack. That was
so that's I agree with you, Rozzy. Like, you're not going to appease everybody, but it's the wording, it's the attempt. Like, well, you know, black people like freedom. They've been talking about this for a long time, so let's do a plate that says something about freedom. No. What does Juneteenth mean to you guys? What does it mean? What would you want to see? And if you're going to do it, tell the story. There's a couple ways. Tell the story. That's free. Get a black-owned company to design your flavors or whatever the case may be. Perhaps find a organization or something that helps the black community, and parts of the proceeds to this go there. But I don't know if you guys watch Atlanta. there was a recent episode where there was a clothing designer, and he had a line come out. It was so hilarious. Basically, he had a raccoon on it, and the name of it was a Central Park. What is Central Park 5? Mm-hmm. Central Park 5 clothing design. The 5 was because he wanted something that was really American to celebrate America, so he chose Central Park. It was their 5-year anniversary of the clothing line, so he chose the number 5 on it, and he wanted to have a cool
animal print
that you could probably find in Central Park type thing, yada yada yada. So he put a raccoon on it. So he came up with these basketball jerseys and stuff that was like Central Park 5 with a coon on it. So, and of course there was backlash, right?
You think?
And so the he hires, or he asks Paperboy, I guess the side central character outside of Donald Glover's character, to be on his committee, the diversification committee. Basically, he wanted him to stand up for the companies like we like black people. Of course, they had a press conference, and he had all these other activists in the black community stand up for him, and he had this whole panel. There was almost a part where there was one dude who was like, "Oh, is this your first time apologizing for white people?" Because it was almost a job where it was, this is what we do. They make a mistake. They go out there, they get black people to speak on them like, hey, Byron doesn't hate white people. Byron doesn't hate black people. Byron loves everybody. Byron doesn't see color. And they were trying to come up with all these ideas of how to show that the company supported the black community. And even when they decided to give money back, they decided to donate to a certain charity of one of the people on the committee, and it was all a money grab for everybody. If there's a way for these large corporations to truly be profitable, politically correct, and do exactly what's right for the black community, because they're gonna lose some of their base. Like, that's just not how it works. So basically, get in where you fit in, get your money, do what you need to do with your money to do what you want to do for your community, because they're not going to do it. So play the game, get what you get, and let them go do their thing.
If I'm in that boardroom for Great Value, I think I would tell them, let's not celebrate Juneteenth with an ice cream flavor. If you're that interested in celebrating Juneteenth and freedom and all that stuff, we know this country was built off of our free labor and all of that stuff. It's how we became the richest country in the world. And so we have always been behind in everything because white people got such a huge head start. Give out some scholarships to
that don't make me money.
To African. Well, then don't worry about celebrating Juneteenth. Because the essence of celebrating Juneteenth is promoting and helping black people get on a level playing field in this country. And if all you're worried about is monetizing off a federal holiday, I would say just don't do it. Now, they would probably be against that, but I'm just saying, if they ask me, just don't do it.
We'll take your idea into consideration, Byron.
Okay.
Thank you for sharing your opinion.
And for them blowing me off like that, they're going to get what they got, which is the backlash. And now they had to take it up. They made all this ice cream that they got to take off the shelves.
I hope this podcast is around 10 years from now. I'm like, dog, you remember when we were arguing about the Juneteenth ice cream? And now it's everywhere. Yeah. It's not. I just...
Introducing
if you look
Bud Light Juneteenth edition.
every year it's gonna be something different. It's just gonna get worse and worse.
Bud's gonna have a can for Juneteenth.
You know Hennessy gonna get in that.
2 years.
You know Hennessy getting in that thing.
Seagram's. Oh man, I can see it right now.
So you thinking of quote unquote black brands? It's gonna be Coca-Cola's gonna get in on this.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Why? It's part of the American tradition now.
Mm-hmm. You'll have the black or the Pan-African flag bottles come out right before the flag, U.S. American was for the 4th of July. Now they just got one other extra run that they can do. I don't know if they'll put a Pan-African flag because then some of their biggest supporters probably won't buy it, but
I don't.
They'll find some way.
I didn't know.
They'll put a straight black one. They'll be like, yeah, this is a straight black can, and slap Budweiser on it, Bud Light, Coca-Cola, Sprite. Everybody have a blacked out can, which actually might be dope as I don't know what. I'm gonna trademark that. Like, hey. Y'all remember Budweiser Selects? They had that all black with the gold with the crown on it. Yeah, that was dope.
But I don't know if it's they're just gonna capitalize. This is their chance. They've missed out on. This is the most marketable black holiday they've had. You can't market MLK Day. You can't market Kwanzaa. That hasn't caught on. This is their chance. It's fresh, and we're in a world where consumers buy anything. It's gonna happen. You might as well just take it and accept it that Juneteenth marketing is here to stay. Walmart was big enough and bold enough to put their feet in the water, and they're gonna come back with something next year.
They can afford to do that too, because where else you niggas gonna shop?
I'm waiting for Old Navy or somebody to make some gear that's gonna be inappropriate. That's gonna happen next year.
I don't know about Old Navy.
Old Navy somebody's gonna make it. Yeah. Somebody's gonna make
it. And my thing is, what they'll do is more than likely they'll get a black designer to design it. But like you said, corporate is gonna put their hands in it and stuff and tweak it a little bit, and so it's gonna come off weird. But then they'll be like, but a black designer designed it, and so that's the issue that you run into as well.
Someone did say if Gucci had came out with something Juneteenth, y'all would have bought it. So
y'all would have.
Mm-hmm.
By y'all, we mean you, Buff.
I don't know. I got to see how fly it is.
Oh, you only get to wear it one day a year. How you wearing your Juneteenth shoes on for Labor Day?
Oh, I'm ready for the Nikes. Nike's got to drop a Juneteenth.
Nike will drop a Juneteenth.
You think? Yeah. Well, they got Kaepernick on their team, so maybe they could do it right.
That's true. He could design it, or they get a designer, and it brings it, because they have those ones, the Familias or something. They have the Kente on them, the Air Max 90s.
But they have that in that's multicultural too. But what does Kaepernick have anything to do with Juneteenth? What does a Pan-African flag have anything to do with Juneteenth? None of that has anything to do with Juneteenth. They don't even care. It's just something that's actually, the less black it is, the probably the better, because if you can make it more African, it's less pro-black.
We're the only ones that should get an off day from work too, by the way, for Juneteenth.
Some reparations going along with it. If you are descended from slavery, then you get the day off. You got to prove it.
Hey, before we go, I want to talk solutions though. Do we have any solutions for? Because I don't think you can, other than like banning guns, you're not going to stop mass shootings in public places. But schools, any suggestions on how we can make a dent? Because we've heard arming the teachers, we've heard, I guess, armed security, bulletproof backpacks, metal detectors, which they have in some public schools now. So what can be done?
Not a lot, actually. That's the unfortunate part about it, because you can be reactive like police, right? And like you say, oh, we're going to put backpacks, we're going to put in protections, we're going to put in the metal detectors, we're going to seal all doors except for the front type thing. Hell, you can put a panic button in so it locks off, everything and all that. You can spend all that money on it to prepare, but nobody's going to do that. We know that's cost prohibitive. It's not going to happen. And truthfully, even the background checks and gun legislation that's out there right now may not have stopped this. It may have delayed it a little while or something like that, but you know, a lot of these shooters got their guns from their parents, right? So it had nothing to do. Background checks wasn't going to stop it because the parent probably would have, you know, passed the background check, had it in the house type thing. I think the big thing that maybe would stop some of it is holding the parents responsible if the child does it.
Yeah.
And so if I know that I'm going to go to jail, if you use my gun to go shoot up a school, I'm going to teach you about it, and I'm going to lock my guns up so that you can't get to them, so that I know when you're going into it and get the guns. So that may be something that may be able to help.
But I agree. It sounds so simple, but these are the same people that aren't going to change anything. If you have a gun in the house, you're going to teach your kids about the gun, and you're going to lock your guns up. Nothing different, right? It's are you only going to not allow your kid to shoot up a school because now you might get in trouble?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Sometimes it helps.
Yeah, I mean, because the thing is that's a lot of what gun legislation did for the UK and stuff. A lot of they don't restrict you where you can't have a gun. They do restrict some types of guns, but most of them that have, like, a lot of those families have hunting rifles and things like that in the house as well. And so, but again, they do annual inspections where they have to come in and see where you keep the gun, see that you have a lock on it, see that you're protecting it. Like, so if you do have a gun, they track it, that you have that gun in the house. They know by serial number. It's like a car registration. You have to register that gun, and they come in and check that gun and check where you have that gun every year.
I think it's like in Dunblane and Britain, they pretty much ban all handguns. So you can own like a rifle and stuff, but most handguns you can't own. I'll say this, because I think it would be too much money because I know this school and like the school in Parkland had like one armed guy, and that's not enough. And we see them get criticized for not taking action enough, and who knows how much training they go through and things like that. And plus you need a team when you have an active shooter like that, because there's so many unknowns. So you would need like a team of armed security at these schools, which I don't think the government is ever going to pay for. So I think a quick solution is possibly ballistic magnetic doors for each classroom, to where if there's an active shooter, there's a button you can hit that's going to lock every classroom door, and they're ballistic, give law enforcement time enough to get there and hopefully take out the shooter. There is no foolproof way to do it, but I think that would help out a lot if you can lock those doors, because he only made it to one classroom and killed all those kids. So if he wasn't able to get in, then
I like that. That's probably one of the best solutions I've heard. Ballistic doors, or just more secure the classroom more. But once he was in that classroom, like, is there anything we could have done in this situation with that? Would those doors have helped?
Well, see, and you know what, the doors are. So you probably need to have two. You need to have a master control in that front office somewhere. But I think he got past his front office. So in case the shooter's able to get past the front office, there needs to be, I guess, like a button in each classroom that teachers can activate as well.
And one other thing with that, I think maybe having a double lock or entryway to all schools. So, you know, they lock most schools, and you usually you can only come through the front door. And most times the front door is locked too, and they have to buzz you in from. And so I would say double that, right? And have a buzz in, and then have a second buzz in, so that
that's how my daughter's school is. How did he get in the front? How did he get in the school?
He shot past. I don't know. Don't give me the line.
So, because that's the thing. Like, my daughter's school doors are glass, right? Mm-hmm. Unless you have ballistic glass door, that maybe it starts there.
Yeah.
You know, because my thing is, if you have a glass door, but you got ballistic doors in the classroom.
But I mean, but at that point, you have to put ballistics on like all the windows too, because I know I can't get through the front door. I just go through the window. You know, I shoot the front window that and go through there. So there's also that. Yeah. But again, that's, he shot through a window or he broke a window. At this point, we know
that's it.
That somebody's here and we can hit the button or we can alert everybody out. So maybe there's that. But I think having that double, just like you go into prisons or anywhere like that, you walk through one and you can't open the second one until the first one's closed. And so now I see you, I get to look at you up and down. I know what you got. If you got on a long trench coat and it's June, at that point, I'm like, whoa, what's going on? What you got under there type thing. And then you come through. So have a security checkpoint right there at the beginning of the school.
So that, or if you can't have all those security checkpoints, you have that master control. Like you said, if he has to shoot through that door, that's step one. It gives everybody a chance to, but then also if it just, it's almost like a glass break. In my house, we have alarm. We have a glass break. If you break that glass, the alarm is triggered. You break a glass, all ballistic doors automatically lock.
And that definitely could probably help save some lives, man.
Yeah, that's probably the idea I've heard, because that's the question. How did he get into school? But then all schools. So my daughter's school, it's a lot of schools now. They prescribe to open concept. Like there's not a door on her room. They have a room they go into, like almost like a panic room. But that means you have to herd the kids together and go in the room.
And a lot of times during letting, and I think this happened like as kids were going in or very early in the morning, a lot of times that front door is open for everybody. I know I've walked in and out of my, Sophie left her laptop or whatever, and I had to run back home and grab it, right? I just walk in to take that laptop in. So, there's also that. If you go at the right time, a lot of times those front doors are wide open.
I don't know. I think ours, like our kids, like our drop, the teachers have to let the kids in. Like every teacher has a key card, and you can't get in. That's my daycare, everything. They buzz everybody in. I don't know, but I think that'll help. What time of day was it? It was the afternoon, right?
Yeah.
No, it was like first in the morning, wasn't it?
It was a little, because one of the kids that was killed, his mom came there earlier for like a award ceremony, and then she left. That was the last time she saw him. So it had to be like past midday.
Okay.
Yeah, so anybody listening to this, ballistic doors, ballistic windows. But it's so sad. And let's say they rolled it out, it would take forever in dollars and tax dollars. And we have schools that can't get books.
Right. And Rozzy once had the genius idea of talking to your kids about guns, just so they can know how dangerous they are. And because I think we tend to like say, you may not even want your kids to know you got a gun in the house, but let them know it's not a toy. I think we need to start talking to our kids about, like I said at the top of the show, any of your friends or classmates jokingly or say they're going to shoot up the school, tell somebody, because it's happened too many times to where we got to take it all seriously.
Yeah. And if you see somebody who because he posted on Facebook that he was going to an elementary school to shoot it up. And so if you see a post like that, you need to be calling 911 like instantly.
That's always gets me. Like when they research it, it's on their Facebook page. It seems like there's always so many signs. Yeah. Do we need a narc hotline where if you report somebody anonymously, can you just click on Facebook and, Facebook should make or Instagram, all social media, one anonymous thing, and it alerts the feds,
It could be like a report this and it reports to the police, or like forward this to the police.
And if something's found, you get a reward. I don't know. Like you stopped the fucking major crime, potential crime. What is they scan everything else?
All right, I was gonna say they certainly listen to my conversations, and I see ads for things I was talking about on my feed. But
maybe they did. Siri and Alexa need to get put on the clock.
But one thing we know for sure, we ain't getting rid of guns no time soon. So we got to find solutions around that.
Maybe the NRA should fund it. Keep your guns, fund schools.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It was almost like, and I'm gonna leave with this. I used to work for Big Tobacco, and there's what they call an excise tax. So they charge Marlboro, Newport, all these RJ Reynolds, all these major corporations that sell tobacco products. There's a tax that comes with that. That goes to campaigns and stuff against stopping people from smoking.
Tax gun ownership. Hey, you have a gun. You have 17 guns. You have 23 guns. You got to register them every year, and you got to pay that $23 ad valorem tax or whatever it is every year to have that gun. So I'm not stopping you from having guns, but you are going to pay, and you use all those taxes and everything that they pay, registration fees and all that, to do stuff like this. I got to secure the schools. I got to do all this stuff because you don't want to give them up. You got to help us pay to secure everybody else.
Yeah. I mean, it is just, the more guns, the more taxes. It's if that might even stop the transfer of weapons within like the gun shows and parents and all people gifting and all that stuff. Well, I know you sold Byron your gun, but it's registered to you, so
run me my money.
And there's exchange, and I noticed that handgun serial number 123456 is not in Byron's name anymore. Then it automatically triggers a background check. Unless Byron just wants to be nice, he sold me his gun for $500, but every year he's about to pay $23 because he didn't want to transfer it over in my name, and you know, that's fine. But it's gonna get into a lot of stuff because it's not just guns. Because at these gun shows, they'll sell you a lower receiver and you get to build a gun. It's gonna have to be, you know, I didn't sell him a gun, I sold him a lower receiver. That's a gun taxed. Mm-hmm. Because you get that lower receiver, you can build a gun off of Amazon.
That's a good loophole you just caught.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's whatever has the serial number on it, right? That's the serialized part that makes it a gun. That's the part that you're going to get taxed on. I don't care about all that other stuff. You can put all that stuff on there. But this part right here that makes it a gun, like you said, the lower receiver that's going to have everything else and I can build around, that's the part that's going to get taxed.
Oh, man, we're not taxing guns. We're taxing receivers. I don't care where the gun goes. We're following that serial number. Every serial number has a tax with it.
Just that easy. It'll get a lot of and then, you know, now that we have a national registry with that database that every police officer should be able to run, just like they can run your vehicle registration, they should be able to run your gun registration and say, this isn't you. Why do you have this gun? You going to jail, player.
All right. Well, there's so many things we can talk about, but that shit ain't gonna happen because it's politics. So let's go ahead and wrap it up then, fellas.
We've been talking a lot about guns, obviously, and the NRA. I just want to leave on this note. When you hear people say we need more guns, like Lester Freeman said on The Wire, follow the money. 67% of NRA members are for background checks. Yet the NRA is against it, which is probably why their membership has dropped. So they're not even getting most of their money from members. They're getting most of their money from gun manufacturers. And they use that money to donate to particular politicians that will champion their agenda. It's about the money. It's not so much about Second Amendment rights and all that stuff. It's about keeping them in business and keeping the politicians that want them in business in power. That's all it's about. Their membership, they have financial problems. Like between New York investigating them for tax evasion to their membership dwindling, they have money they have money problems because members are like, yo, they don't even represent me. So it's not they're not even representing their own group of people. They have their own agenda. Members be when you hear people say more guns, gun manufacturers are paying the NRA to push people to buy more guns to keep these gun manufacturers in business.
Once again, that's why I say they're a scapegoat. The NRA is not a bunch of people supporting guns. It's because you can support gun laws or support guns and not be. I have guns in my house. Guess who's not a member of the NRA? We've all owned weapons. none of us have registered or looked into being a part of the NRA. So that's why I say it's a fallacy. It's made up. I was joking about the Illuminati, but it's I don't know anybody that owns a gun that's a part of the NRA. But it's so easy to hide behind this mythical beast that's bigger than life because they don't have to answer to anybody. It's almost like being a privately owned company where you don't have to answer to your shareholders. They basically do what they want to do based off of what the people who are funding them tell them to do. And then they hide behind the NRA and nobody wants to get on.
Yeah, it all comes back to this because it's so raw right now on us. And along those lines, I just want to say, like Byron said, have those conversations with your kids. Check on them, especially if they're in late elementary, middle school, maybe even high school. But if they've heard about this, have that conversation with them. So that's really what I want to close out with. Talk to your kids. Make sure that they aren't scared. They aren't scared to go to school. They understand what it is. They're okay. Because you got to have those conversations. I think a lot of times we try to take that on as parents and put it on our shoulders, and we try to make the decisions and forget to actually talk to the kid and see where their head is. Are they okay with it? I had a conversation with Sophie when I found out about it, and she was like, why would the guy do that? That's so sad. She was asking me how many boys and how many girls, and I was like, what's that matter? And I was like, would you be, care more if it was more girls or something? She's like, no, I just want to know. I want to investigate what happened. So Sophie is like, we're having conversations about what happened, and so whether she's safe at school and feels safe and everything. And so have those conversations with the kids. Make sure that they can express themselves and are still comfortable going to school, and they don't have anxiety walking into that school.
Well, we've been talking about this and guns for the longest, pretty much the whole show. And I don't want to make light of this. We've been talking about the recent shooting, and less than 2 weeks ago, we kind of mentioned it during the show. We had 10 individuals who were gunned down at a supermarket in Buffalo, New York. My heart goes out to them as well. It was just, neither one is greater than the other. It's sad. It's deplorable. It just makes you feel unsafe. I don't know what to say. All I can say, and this is not victim blaming, this is not anything. It's just be vigilant, be aware of your surroundings. Hug your loved ones every time they go out, because the world we live in, you just never know. I mean, no one's safe. This might be the only time you'll ever hear me say this, and I'm scared to say this. All lives matter. Like there was a shooting in a Asian church a few weeks ago as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to, just talk about the black people and the kids. It's just sad. It has to stop. This is just ridiculous. Let's just take a second and recap. They were in a church. They got shot. Supermarket, someplace everybody goes, they got shot. A school, somebody got shot. I mean, we're probably a week away or 2 weeks away from the next police shooting. I mean, this is it's sad, people. So be vigilant, be careful, love on your loved ones, and hope to see everybody or talk to everybody next week. Be safe. 3 Brothers No Sense. Listen, like, share, subscribe, comment, and most importantly, listen again. See you next week.